What's up, everybody? It's Silas Kingdomnaire, Kingdom Forth here, guys. And I just wanted to come on here, just encourage you and strengthen you. Guys, I wanted to talk about being exhausted and still pursuing. All right, whenever you're exhausted, it does not mean that you're not on the right track. Exhaustion does not mean that you're not on the right track. I was reading in Gideon, right, and I was watching a video by a pastor. And in Gideon right here, and I know you know the story of Gideon, it says in Judges chapter 8, verse 4, it talks about Gideon and when he was pursuing after what God told him to do. And in the previous chapter, in chapter 7, God had told Gideon to decrease his army from 32,000 people to 10,000, then to 300 people. And then Gideon had got the victory, but over the Midianites, but it was two people that God wanted him to get. It was two leaders, and those two leaders had escaped. They defeated the army, but the two leaders had escaped. So once that happened in chapter 8, Gideon and them were still pursuing after those two leaders because he wasn't done with what God told him to do. So right here it says, when Gideon came to the Jordan, he and the 300 men who were with him crossed over exhausted, but still in pursuit. And I wanted to ask you, when was the last time that you felt exhausted, but kept on pursuing? What if you didn't give up on what God told you to do? What if you kept going? And that's what I want to tell you right now. I want to encourage you right now. If you're exhausted right now, it doesn't mean that it's not God. Gideon was exhausted. His army was exhausted. But guess what? It said they were exhausted, but still in pursuit. Why? Because they were determined. Gideon was determined to do what the Lord had told him to do. After he saw the Lord give him the victory with only 300 men. See, you think you need everybody. You don't need everybody in your corner. And I want to read the next verse. It says, then he said to the men of Succoth, please give loaves of bread to the people who follow me, for they are exhausted, right? And I am pursuing Zebah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian. He was pursuing after those two people. That was what the Lord told him to do. He was pursuing after them, right? He was pursuing after them. And his men were exhausted. And twice he asked them, and then he asked another group. And they gave Gideon and his men, they gave him nothing. I'm just going to read it so you can see. And the leaders of Succoth said, are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in your hand? They were asking Gideon, is what you said you're going to do, or what you're doing, are you done with your assignment? Did you do it? Are you there already? Are you successful already? Maybe you got a business, or maybe you got something God told you to do. And the people that Gideon were asking to help him and his men, it was his own people. It was his own people. And the leaders of Succoth said, are the heads of Zebah and Zalmunna now in your hand, that we should give bread to your army? So Gideon said, for this cause. See, Gideon had been rejected already. He already seen that he didn't need everybody. God told him to decrease his army from 32,000 to 300. So this rejection right here, they didn't want to give him food. So Gideon said, okay, I'm too determined right now. I'm on assignment right now. I'm on a mission right now. So Gideon said this. Gideon said, for this cause, right? Since they didn't want to give them food, they were exhausted. He said, for this cause, when the Lord has delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into my hand, because Gideon was determined. He knew that God gave him the victory. He knew that he was about to get what he was after. He knew he was about to go and get them, what God had assigned him to do. And he said, into my hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with the briars. That's what he told them. And these were people, he was like, I don't need you. And then the next verse says, then he went up from there to Penuel and spoke to them in the same way. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered. So he also spoke to the men of Penuel. They said the same thing. They wasn't giving him nothing. And Gideon was determined. His army, they were determined. They were exhausted, but still pursuing. They were exhausted, tired, fatigued. But they just finished. They thought they were done. Have you ever thought you was done, but then there was more? They were exhausted, but still pursuing. And it says, saying, when I come back in peace, this is what Gideon said. He knew he was going to get the victory. He knew that he already won. He already knew that he was going to go get those people. And it says, I will tear down this tower. That's what he told the people that's what he told them because they didn't give them any bread. They didn't give them any food. And so after that happened, Gideon did exactly what he spoke. I don't want to read all of it. He did exactly what he spoke. If you read the Judges chapter 8, he did exactly what he spoke. He went and captured, he killed actually Zebah and Zalmunna, what God told him to do, right? To defeat the armies that God told him to do. He finished his assignment. And he did it while he was exhausted. Him and his army, the 300, they did it while they were exhausted. But they kept pursuing after what God told them to do. And I want to ask you this. Are you going to quit because you're exhausted? Are you going to keep pursuing? Are you going to keep chasing? Are you going to keep going after what God told you to do? Doing these videos, they're exhausting. But I'm going to do these videos every day because I'm on assignment from God. Your business. Are you going to quit because somebody told you no? Read what Gideon did. He said, okay, you told me no. Okay, I know you're not my supplier. I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you that I got the victory. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm trying to show you, exactly what I'm going to do, what I spoke to you. I'm going to go do it and I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and show you that God did it. I'm going to go do it. Since you don't want to help me, I don't need your help. I don't need your help. I was asking you, but I don't need your help. So I'm going to go do exactly what God told me to do. I'm going to do it. And when it's done, I'm going to come back to you. And you're going to see that what God spoke over me was the truth. You're going to see that what God called me, what I was trying to show you, just like they did with Joseph, with his brothers. He told them the vision. He told them the dream. And what they did, they said no to his dream. Just like they did to Gideon right here in a kind of way. They said no to Joseph's dream. And then guess what? They ended up seeing exactly what Joseph said. Just right here with Gideon. They ended up seeing exactly what Gideon said. But Gideon did exactly what he told them. He punished them just like he said. He said he was going to tear this tower down. You got to get that type of determination that if somebody tells you no, if somebody does not help you, that doesn't offend you. Because a lot of times when people tell people no, especially when they're exhausted, listen, especially when you're exhausted, that make you want to quit. That make you want to get stagnant. Or maybe this isn't God. Maybe God, what if Gideon would have been like, since they're not giving me food, God, they're not giving us food, we can't go finish the assignment. They're not giving us bread. Maybe you have a project you're working on and you're sharing it with people and people are telling you no. And you're like, God, I know you want, deep down, you know God wants you to do it. But since people are telling you no, you're trying to show God, people are telling me no. So maybe this isn't you. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. Just because people tell you no, that doesn't mean it's not God. Michael Jordan was rejected. Oh, look at all these great people that were rejected before they were accepted. Thomas Edison, all these people that invented the light bulb, the planes, every great thing, every great assignment has rejection before it is accepted. But Gideon went, he pursued while he was exhausted. He kept going. You got to get that type of determination that I don't care who try to stop me. Because look, it's not the people. It's the enemy trying to use the people to get you to quit. It's never the people. It's always Satan. It's always him. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. But what you got to do, you got to keep pursuing. You got to keep going. You got to be determined about the dream that God has given you. Exhausted in all. You got to give your all throughout the process. So guys, I hope this helped you. I want you to keep going. Guys, you're going to see what God does in my life. He's already doing it. You're going to see what he does in my life. And for the people that have been on these videos at the beginning, you're going to see the beautiful works of God. And you're going to see it in your life as well. But what you got to do is stay consistent. You got to keep going. You got to keep going even when you're exhausted. Me, I'm exhausted from doing these videos. I'm exhausted. But guess whose strength is helping me do these videos? Every day since I started, last year. God has been helping me every day. I've been doing these videos since last year. Every day. Since November. And guess who has did it, has been there to help me? God, every time. God will make a way for you. And that's what I want to let you know. Who was there for Gideon and his army? They were exhausted. It was only 300 of them versus all thousands of the army. God was there for them. He helped them to defeat the Midianites. He helped them to defeat the kings. He helped them to defeat the people that God told them to defeat. And that's what I want you to know. Your assignment is done, but you got to keep pursuing whatever God told you to do. See me, I'm not worried about nothing in the world. I'm not worried about haircuts, all that. I have money to do all that stuff. I'm not worried about food, clothes. I'm not worried about that. Right now, I'm doing the work of God. That's what I'm concerned with. Doing what he called me to do. I'm not worried about being pretty. See, you worried about being pretty. Gideon wasn't worried about being pretty. He was hungry. You got to get hungry for what God called you to do. You got to say, I don't care if these people, I'm going to go ask people to connect with me. I'm going to go ask people. I don't care who you are. If I feel led to ask you, I'm going to ask you. But if you don't help me, bye-bye. Get out of my way. Who's next? And if you don't help me, you're going to see that what I was doing was the will of God. And when it's done, you're going to see it. And then maybe later you can act like you my friend. Then maybe later you can act like you know me. You got those people, when something great happens to you, then they act like they knew you. They act like they knew you. For instance, you win an Oscar. You win a Grammy. You do something big. Oh, I knew them since high school. I knew them since elementary. I knew them since whatever. Gideon had quality people in his corner. God is telling you right now, get rid of everybody that's afraid of what God called you to do. Everybody that's fearful and nervous about the call on your life. Get away from them. Because people can put their fear on you. They can project their fears on you. For instance, you're investing. Somebody with a fearful mind might say, be careful. That's fear. When you're on assignment, the angels already got the way. Everything is loose for you. Everything is right in alignment. You got all the help you need. No such thing as be careful. You go take what is yours. That's exactly what Gideon did. He took what the Lord told him was his. He rose up. He rose up. Gideon rose up out of nowhere. Nobody knew about him. Nobody knew about Gideon. God chose him out of nowhere. Rose him up. Used small people. He used a small amount of people to give him the victory over a large task. I want you to know God is with you. Do not give up on your assignment just because you're exhausted. Get to working on it. Pursue after it exhausted. Chase after your dream exhausted. Do whatever it takes exhausted. Because I love Gideon because he wasn't a quitter. Gideon is like me. When I start something, I gotta finish. I can't start and not finish. The only reason I wouldn't finish something is if it wasn't God. If it wasn't what God wanted me to do, he cut it off. But if it's God's will and he told you to do something, get up. Strengthen yourself. Fight for it. Because it's already yours. Go after it. Go after it. It's your assignment. Finish what the Lord has told you to start. And I'm telling you, do not let little no's. Don't let little no's stop you from that yes. And it's not just, I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about if you're an actor, you're an actress, you're a film producer, whatever it is that you're doing, you're a musician. Don't let no's stop you from that yes. And don't give up and lay in the bed and crawl up in a ball and say, Lord, I'm done. I quit. God is looking for warriors. He's looking for savages because the enemy he think he's smart. He think he could get you. He think he could trick you. I'm telling you. He think he could stop you. He think he could delay you. That's what he want to do. He want to delay you. He wants you to feel, oh, since you're exhausted, right? Since you're exhausted, I'm not going to do nothing. This ain't God. I'm exhausted. God, this is too hard. I'm exhausted, Lord. You're going to have to get somebody else to do this. No. That's exactly that's the wrong way of thinking. Be renewed by this word. Be not conformed to his word, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renew your mind in this word. Be transformed. Renew your mind. Exhaustion does not mean that it's over. Exhaustion does not mean that it's not God. If God told you to do it at the beginning, just because you're in the middle, it doesn't mean quit. Let me ask you this, I'm about to get off. With your current assignment, what did God tell you about that assignment when you first started it? What did God tell you about that assignment when you first started it? Because everybody starts off great. Everybody starts off inspired, but it's always that middle. It's always in between where the winners show up. You got to be dedicated. You got to be motivated. You got to be hungry. That's the best way I can say it. You gotta be a savage. I mean, it's more than not quitting. You gotta punch through. You gotta bust through whatever somebody trying to stop you, whatever limitations, you gotta bust through them. And it's not gonna be because of anybody else. It's gonna be because of you. I'm telling you this. I'm about to get off. I said it already. It is not people that's stopping you. When you go talk to somebody and they tell you no, and it hurts you, that's not people. It is the enemy. Enemy. It is yourself allowing somebody's words to offend you, to hurt you. Since they said no, then I'm not going to go. I'm going to stop growing. I started growing when I cared less about no's. I said, okay, you going to give me a no? I laugh. My dad is good at this. My dad laughs at no's. I've watched my dad build businesses for 22 years now, him and my mom. I walk in their room. He got webinars on, recorded webinars, doing presentations, and he laying on his couch in his room, chilling. Making money while the recordings are on. Most people grow up seeing their parents go to a job all their life. I know my dad used to work 3 jobs at once, I think even 4, throwing newspapers before he had his own business. But just watching him, and he don't care nothing about a no. He treats the no just like the yes. And that's what I'm learning. You got to be neutral and focused on your dream. Whether people say no or yes, it don't matter. I'm still going. Whether you with me or not, this is my dream. This is my goal. Whether you with me or not, I'm going to pursue after the assignment that God told me. That's what I want you to have. That type of attitude. To where no's do not stop you. That's what Gideon did. They told him no. He was exhausted. His army was hungry. They had just fought the Midianites. They had just won that victory. And they thought it was over. They was crossing over the Jordan. But then the Lord, it wasn't over. They had to go get 2 more people that had escaped. In chapter 7, they escaped. And in chapter 8, they had to go get them. So they were pursuing after those 2 people. They were pursuing after them, exhausted. And they asked people that they trusted. Maybe your family, you trusted them. You asked them to help you, and they said no. Gideon was asking people that he trusted, that he worshiped with, that he was around, to help him, help his army. And the people closest to him said no. And he was ticked off. He was mad. Not like mad, like punching things, like not mad at God, but he was mad like, I'm about to go get these people. I'm about to go make this happen now. Okay, y'all don't want to support me. I'm about to make this dream happen. I'm about to make what God, I'm about to do it. He was determined to do what the Lord said. Sometimes you need a no to get you fired up. Sometimes you need a no to get yourself back up. Sometimes you need somebody to say, I ain't helping you, to get everything inside of you up. Have you ever seen a football player? I remember when I played football in high school, sometimes you go into the game, you're a little nervous, or you're a little, you're not all the way playing fully until somebody hits you, or you hit somebody. Well, that's like a no. A no is like a hit. It wake you up. It gets you back. It gets you awoke. And that's when you really go off. When somebody hits you, when somebody disrespects you, that's when you really get up. That's when the warrior comes out. That was for me. That was for me. But that's the type of passion you gotta have. You gotta have that focus to do what God told you to do. So guys, I hope this helped you. It helped me. It helped me. God gave me this word. You gotta go. You gotta get up. It's that hit that wakes you up. Like, I'm really in the game. Let's go now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. Let's go. It wakes you up. So guys, I hope you're up. I hope you're ready, because it's wartime. It's not chill and relaxed time. The enemy is really strategizing how he can stop you from achieving the assignment. He's using all type of things like exhaustion. He's using all type of things like exhaustion. Like he wants to exhaust, like he wants you to think just because you're tired, it's not God. Just because people are leaving, it's not God. And sometimes that's true. But at the beginning, what did God tell you to do? If God told you to do that assignment, and in the middle of it, you're exhausted and people are leaving, don't you leave until if God tells you to leave, you leave. But don't you leave until you hear him say go. You do what he told you to do. You finish it. You get up. You finish what he told you to do. So guys, I hope this helped you. Every day I'm doing these videos, every day. I'll be on here every day. I'm doing what the Lord told me to do. Exhausted, no matter what. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for people to know me. I'm doing this for people to know God, to be encouraged by Jesus, to be encouraged by the word. And just for God, this is what God wants me to do. So guys, I hope this helped you. I hope this blessed you. I'm telling you, when God gives you an assignment, it's going to be a tug. It's going to be a push, like these videos. I have to do these videos. If I don't do this video, I'm being disobedient. If I don't, and this is how you know it's God. It's what God wants you to do. If you try not to do it, something gonna go wrong. If you try not to do it, you're gonna feel him pushing you. You're gonna feel him aligning you with his will, because he loves you too much. He loves you too much for you not to be focused. Stop being distracted. So guys, be blessed. Later.